A lot of you seem unconvinced by my arguments regarding the man of the house idea. And I know that because you sent me an email basically telling me, arguing your case as to why your case is different. And I'm going to tell you now that the arguments that you guys have been giving me basically don't hold any water. I tried to, and I'm going to do it from a different perspective. I enlisted the help of somebody else in this endeavor. My wife. I thought I'd try to go for a woman's perspective on this. And I'm going to try to show you why her brief and illustrative example of her opinion should be something you can take into consideration in your current life endeavor. Remember, this is directed towards Western or Western-minded men who are living at home with their parents past the age of 20 and who are able-bodied and not disabled. I asked my wife last night, what do you think of young men who, able-bodied young men who live at home with their mom and dad? And she answered like this, as she always does in a very succinct manner. She usually uses very few words, and this time she used no words at all. She simply raised her hand up like this, put it above her head, and went like this. It's a symbol that I've seen her do at me many times. It basically means loser, and that's basically her impression. And the reason that I chose to share that with you, it's a rather inflammatory thing to say, and I certainly don't mean to insult anybody, but I do want to help you guys. I really do. That's why I'm doing all of this. I want to help you guys. The reason I wanted to share that with you is that you have just received the benefit of a liberative insight into the perspective of a good, mature woman, the type of woman that you would want to have as a wife and mother to your children. That kind of woman isn't easy to get. You know, you can get a woman anywhere. You can go to a bar and get a woman, and together you can, if you without much effort, you can create a horrible mess together, in terms of a poorly constructed family, badly organized home, a life without any goals or objectives, and really make a mess of things. It's not hard to screw life up. It really isn't. It's a much more challenging thing to create a more stable life, especially when you're thinking about children, where children can be raised in a good, beneficial environment. And to do so, you will need, I'm talking to you men out there, you will need a good woman to do that. Now, if you're going to try to attract a good woman, you're going to have to display the characteristics of a good man, and because good women are going to be looking for that. If you go out on a first date with a young woman, one of the good women, let's see for the other thing. If you go on a first date with a young woman that doesn't have her act together and isn't thinking long term like that, this is past the period of just dating for pure pleasure, and you're at the point where you're actually dating, looking for a spouse, some life partner. If you got a woman that doesn't have her act together, she's not going to care when you tell her that you live at home with mom and dad. Big deal, because she's on thinking about other things. She's probably thinking more of herself. On the other hand, if you've got the type of woman, if you're sitting across the table from the type of woman who would indeed make an excellent mother and a great wife, when she hears that you're living at home with mom and dad, that's going to be a big turnoff, and you're probably not going to hear from her again, because she's after a man that will be able to recognize and hold up his end of the bargain. Yes, men and women have their respective roles. It's ingrained in us, regardless of what the the modern perspective may be. Men and women expect different things of one another. Women, in a nutshell, women basically are going to have in mind the welfare of home and hearth, and they're going to, and that's what we need. We need as men, we need women who have that intelligence. I'm not talking about career or anything like that. They can still have a career and stuff like that, but they have a better ability at that in some capacity. I think it's biological. Home and hearth is what they're typically, we need as men. We need women who are going to be good at that, and they want something out. What they want out of us is a man who can maintain an independent. I've got a person here. I got to hold the camera down. A man who can walk on his own 2 feet, maintain the roof over the head, and fend off the wolves at the door. How's that for speaking in broad strokes in a very gender-specific manner regarding men and women? But I think if we're honest with ourselves, that is basically where we stand when creating a family. So, if you are a man that doesn't display those characteristics, she's going to move on and find somebody else. So, it's in your best interest it's in your best long-term interest to begin to develop a personal resume of achievement in terms of she's not going to care about your etchings. Another thing. So if you think that by staying home and working and living under the roof of mom and dad, so that you can pursue your endeavors versus independence, and think that you're going to take that to a table and say, well, I work at home, I live at home with mom and dad, but I've made a really great progress on my book. That's not going to fly, or I'm doing a great job of preparing to be an entrepreneur. That ain't going to work either. What kind of entrepreneur builds? What kind of CEO operates from his own bedroom? It doesn't work. The skills that require, that's a whole other video, but the skills of a CEO are the types of things that are developed through independent living. I mean you'll be a rotten CEO if you may have a great business idea, but if you founded that on the lifestyle of having others take care of you, you're not going to be in a position to be the leader and take care of things. Now let's get back on track. Women can see that as well. They see, the good women they can see that right away, that a man who's living at home, who is able to take care of himself, is not the material that she's going to need to create a good, stable, lasting family. And you want to start that now. You don't want to have the record of saying, well, just 6 months ago I left my mom and dad's house and I've been on my own apartment since. And no, when you meet that woman, you want to be able to say that I've basically been on my own. I became an adult and I struck out on my own, and I've been going my way ever since. And even if you have to say you take her back, you get to the point where you can take her back to your place, and it's a tiny little economy apartment with minuscule furnishing, or bare furnishings and the like. She's going to be way more impressed with that type of a humble start than no start at all. And staying at home with mom and dad is indeed no start at all. So, if you want to get a good woman, get out of the house, get on your own, stand on your own 2 feet, begin to display the characteristics of strength and independence that will attract the quality women in this world. And you'll find that not only will this type of lifestyle lead to a greater sense of self-esteem and fulfillment and peace, and it will also help to weed out the extraneous, childish endeavors of those who have too much time on their hands and not enough responsibilities to think about. Not only will it do that, but it will help you to become the type of person that will be able to find a really good life partner to spend their life with. There's no guarantee, of course. Mistakes can still be made. Unforeseen problems can occur. I've never guaranteed anything at all. I'm just attempting to improve the odds for you, because I really do care about you guys. All right? Take care, everybody. Have a great day. And remember that my wife's L doesn't just apply to those guys. She gives it to me all the time. Okay, so she's helped me to become a better man in that capacity. And I still have a lot more to do.